the ones that are all like in that field of helping people, because it really does help. I believe that it saved my daughter's life. I believe that, if it wasn't for, us being able to go to the Lummi Care and reach out, and, she went to treatment not long after that over in Spokane and came home, and she's been good since.
My name is Lindsay, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. But it wasn't until I was 24 and a junior at Portland State University that I tried heroin for the first time. This was the drug that ensnared me, leading me to act against every moral fiber in my body, making me unrecognizable to myself and to the people who loved me. The first time I used heroin, I knew I was in trouble, but I had no idea just how much I had altered the course of my life. I had no idea that I would still be battling this beast I had awoken inside myself 15 years later. And although I experienced periods of clean time over the past decade and a half, and some good things happened in my life, most of the time I was in active addiction. Despite my struggles, I married the love of my life, and we just celebrated 11 years of marriage, and we have 2 beautiful children. However, my addiction caused me to lose everything more than once. My marriage was in shambles more than once, and I exposed my children to things that haunt me to this day. I was never content being a heroin addict, and I was always trying to quit. Sometimes I lasted a year before relapsing, but more often than not, I was using again within a few months. The last time I hit rock bottom and walked into a detox facility was June 13th, 2023. I knew I had to do things differently, or I would end up in prison or dead. As soon as I got out of treatment, I started attending meetings, and I went to a meeting every single day for the first 3 months. In those meetings, I heard stories that I could relate to, showing me that I was not alone in my struggles and giving me a sense of belonging, which is something I had never felt before. I got a sponsor who I meet with every week. She's helping me through the 12 steps of Cocaine Anonymous. Working through the steps has allowed me to unload my resentments and process through the guilt and shame that weighed me down. I have developed a relationship with my higher power, who I call God. I talk to God every single day, asking him for guidance and strength. I go to church with my husband and my children every Sunday, which gives me the opportunity to be part of a community and something bigger than myself. I have a job that allows me to pay my bills and be a productive member of society. I no longer have to rely on other people to make sure that my children's needs are met. This gives me a sense of purpose. Of course, life still gets challenging, and some days I struggle. But now I have the tools that I need to deal with the curveballs that life throws at me, instead of running and trying to disappear into the oblivion of drugs. Today, I'm proud to be an addict in recovery. I'm proud to show my children that change is possible. It's hard, without a doubt, but it is possible, and if I can do it, anyone can do it. I truly believe that every addict out there today can change, because you are never too old or too far gone to start healing and living your best life. Thank you for listening.
My name is Dustin Stevens. I'm a man in recovery. I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother, and I'm an uncle. In active addiction, I can't be any of those things. And I'm just so grateful to be here because my addiction took me to a hopeless place where I was resigned to dying from my addiction. And the fact that some people never gave up on me, my doctors, the lead program, I owe my life to. They never gave up on me, even when I was at my worst. I'm just so grateful to be here and to share part of my story.
My name is Dania Aldridge. On 10/29 of 2013, I began my journey on the Red Road to recovery. I want to begin thanking the providers and the members of the librarian community for putting on this event. I really believe today's message will not only spread awareness, but will spread hope as well. As much as I hate to be another stereotype, growing up on the reservation, I was exposed to and eventually began drinking alcohol and using drugs at a very young age, to repeat the generational trauma that began long before my time. By a young age, at 11, I was drinking and smoking weed. I eventually became pregnant at 15. I gave birth at 16 years old. After my first child, I did clean up and I attempted to roll into college to pursue my dream in healthcare. That was until I became imprisoned in a domestic violence relationship that led to heavier drug use, such as pills, heroin, meth, anything. Ultimately, my daughter was taken away. It started by losing her and anything and everyone around me. I found myself sick, alone, and miserable. This rock bottom was the foundation I used to build the life I have today. I eventually got into a domestic violence shelter, which helped place me into a treatment facility. And I eventually became a part of the MAT program, the Medication Assisted Treatment Program, in which Dr. Bosted has helped me on that journey in a significant way. After 6 months, I eventually got my daughter back, and I believe by fate, I met my now husband, who has helped encourage a better life for myself and adding 2 sons into our lives. Although I maintained sobriety from drugs, I did eventually find myself struggling with alcoholism. Yet another toxic cycle in which I had to be honest and make a change. I had to be honest with myself and my support team, in which helped get me back into focus in pursuing my recovery and my dreams. I eventually enrolled into college, and to my surprise, I actually graduated with an associate's degree in medical science with honors. I now work in healthcare where I get to treat patients with cancer. And much like cancer, addiction is caused by a combination of factors: behavioral, psychological, biological, environmental. I urge you to please be a part of the change before change is absolutely needed. I thank you again all for this event and spreading awareness, and thank you for allowing me to change what has been my secret for so long to become my story today.
Myself, like, as awful as you may think about me, that's how I feel about myself tenfold. I've never met somebody in active addiction who wanted to be there, ever. So yeah, that's like people to realize.
Thank you.
There's no bad people. There's just bad choices, which I've made my share of. And that's a big part of with the challenges of recovery, is dealing with guilt and shame and fear. You just don't ever give up.
I had lost everything, like I said, several times. Being homeless and having $20, however I got it, and either choosing between eating and like feeling so hungry, it would feel like your stomach was like turning inside out, but buying drugs instead, and like not having any connection with my family because they'd cut ties because they had to. In life always had to get really uncomfortable for me to finally like take that step towards getting clean.
The common thing in all rock bottoms is that the loss of values. We start finding ourselves doing things to support our addiction, things that we would never dream of doing. I never thought that I would be homeless. I never thought that I'd be eating food out of a trash can. I never thought I'd be living behind Walmart. But that's where my addiction took me. Unfortunately for many, rock bottom is death. And my rock bottom was so low that I don't think I have another rock bottom besides death.
We would steal from them, and we would manipulate them as much as we could to try to get money from them. I mean, we ripped them off so many times, it's embarrassing, really. But we always knew that they loved us, and as soon as we were ready to change, and we did, they were there for us, supporting us. So just for me, or to me, it's just is like making sure that that person knows that you love them, and when they're ready to change, that you'll be there to help them and support them through it.
You can't turn your back on your family. You have to let them know that they're loved, but that maybe you have to love them from a distance.
Sometimes just a smile from a stranger can give you so much hope. Just to see that you're being seen, see that you're feeling like a human being being recognized. I mean, for me personally, that's all that could help sometimes in my darkest moments, is just being recognized and being like, okay, I still do matter.
Like I said, I was resigned to dying from my addiction. And for me, it took involuntary incarceration. I got arrested and put in jail and forced to detox. And that's when I had a moment of clarity. That's when I was able to make a choice. And the fact that, in particular, the LEAD program, they always came out and visited me when I was living in the camps. They'd take me to the doctor, or they'd sometimes just buy me lunch or a coat. But the fact that they didn't give up on me made me believe that I didn't have to give up on myself.
And Dr. Cartman's been there with me through much of my journey. And, even when I would go to get my prescription to Suboxone and I would pee dirty, there was no judgment. He would just work through it with me. And every time I went back to him, because I too am a chronic relapser, he just accepted me back with no judgment and open arms. And just knowing that was there was really helpful when I was in those really dark places. Change is possible. I would express to them how much I loved them and let them know that once they were ready, they knew that when they were ready to take that step, that there were a lot of options for them.
Let them know how much it's going to hurt if they die. Tell them you're going to be pissed off at them when they're gone, and let them know how much they mean to you. And like she said, there's many options for help. The important thing is, I mean, for me, I can't do recovery alone. I need help, and I have to ask for it though, and I have to want it. But yeah, I would just say, let them know that it's not just all about them. Like, they have an effect on you.
I feel like a lot of the time you don't. It's about having that guidance, about finding that support team, even just asking questions, being honest, saying, hey, where can I go to have a place to sleep tonight? Just being open and honest, asking those questions and finding a good support team, going into a clinic, just being vulnerable enough to say, I need help.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. And like he said, asking for help and, vocalizing what it is, what your needs are. And, you'd be amazed at how quick people are willing to help you when you're doing the right thing. And when you're doing the right thing, good things happen really quickly, honestly. It's always amazed me. In my journeys in recovery, that once I started, doing the right thing and And once, I would just always think like the next right step, the next right step. And good things happen. The awareness and wanting to know how to talk to people about it and what they can do. And that's a really big deal. That gives me a lot of hope.
Compassion from the judges and the prosecutors. They basically gave me this idea, this feeling that they actually genuinely cared and wanted my life to get better instead of just trying to put me in a hole somewhere, I guess.
How can I myself as an individual contribute, and hopefully something that was shared here today could inspire at least one person or give awareness to one person and be able to see things differently and just come together as a community and start building towards a solution.